Imagine waking up every single morning feeling genuinely energized, clear-headed, and completely sure that the day ahead is not just another ordinary day, but a true, meaningful opportunity, a chance to grow, to move forward, and finally take full control and charge of your life. Now, let's be honest for a moment. How often do you actually wake up feeling like this? If you're like most people, chances are you're dragging yourself out of bed, feeling stuck, lost, or simply trapped in old routines and habits that no longer serve your highest good or ambitions. The truth is, how you begin your morning isn't just about those first few minutes after you open your eyes. It's about setting the tone for the entire course of your day, shaping your mindset, and ultimately influencing the quality of your life as a whole. The ancient Stoics understood this profoundly. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic emperors and philosophers, once said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This perspective isn't just poetic, it's transformative. Today, we're diving deeply into how you can practically apply this timeless wisdom every single morning. We'll explore how to build powerful morning habits that help you master your mind, set your intentions clearly, and seize complete control over your day before it even begins. If what we're sharing here resonates with you and you see value in reclaiming your mornings and, by extension, your life, then I have a simple favor to ask, one that's completely free and easy to do. Please hit that subscribe button. Your support genuinely helps our channel grow and enables us to reach more people who truly need this life-changing message. Now, let's get into it. Let's face the reality that most of us have a complicated relationship with mornings. I completely understand your bed feels like the warmest, safest embrace, and the snooze button whispers sweet, tempting lies of just 5 more minutes. But here's a hard truth that many won't admit. Early mornings are absolute game changers. This isn't just motivational fluff, it's the reality speaking. Those quiet early hours, before emails flood your inbox, before texts start pinging, and before the chaos of daily life grabs hold, are your golden ticket to clarity, calm, and control. Picture this: waking up just 1 hour earlier than you normally do, just one single hour. That might sound trivial or even painful at first, especially if you're used to rushing through mornings or sleeping in. But imagine this hour as a peaceful sanctuary, a personal oasis of uninterrupted time carved out from the noisy, bustling, then the desert of daily demands. No distractions, no immediate pressures, just you, your thoughts, and the freedom to plan your day intentionally. This hour becomes your sacred space for reflection, preparation, and setting a calm yet purposeful mindset that will carry you powerfully through whatever the day throws at you. It's about giving yourself the gift of a slow, mindful start so that instead of reacting to the day, you respond with clarity and intention. By claiming an MCC Hun, this time, you're not only investing in productivity but also nurturing your mental and emotional well-being. This is how the most successful and grounded people start their days, and how you can too. Setting your intentions or even indulging in reading something meaningful, something that truly anchors you in wisdom, perspective, and purpose is an incredibly powerful way to begin each day with clarity and focus. The ancient Stoics understood the significance of this better than anyone else in history. Seneca famously said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality," which serves as a timeless reminder that the dread and anxiety we associate with waking up early are often far worse than the actual experience of getting out of bed. It's not the physical act of waking up that causes pain or difficulty, rather, it's the negative narrative we construct in our minds, the story that convinces us we will be exhausted, miserable, or ineffective throughout the day that truly holds us back and drains our motivation. By choosing to rise earlier, you actively break this deceptive illusion and demonstrate to yourself a fundamental truth taught by Stoicism: discipline is freedom. This realization is not just a motivational cliche. It is a profound principle that unlocks your potential. Of course, this change won't feel easy at first. It's normal for discomfort to accompany growth because meaningful transformation rarely happens within the boundaries of your comfort zone. The brilliant psychologist Carl Jung captured this perfectly when he said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." That extra hour you grant yourself in the morning becomes your sacred space to look inward, to awaken not only your body, the end, but also your deeper self, your authentic vision, and your true purpose. It is during these quiet, uninterrupted early hours that insights begin to surface, complex problems start to unravel, and mental clarity naturally emerges. Yet, the moment your alarm sounds and you reluctantly pull yourself out of bed, what do you usually reach for first? Let's be honest, most people immediately head for the coffee machine, eagerly anticipating that familiar, caffeinated jolt that convinces Ben MCC Hun them they need caffeine just to feel human and function properly. Now, I'm not here to demonize coffee, I'm just as much a fan as anyone else, but there's a crucial truth we often overlook when we reach for that first espresso in our groggy desperation. After a full night's sleep, your body is dehydrated. Overnight, your brain and body have gone many hours without water, leading to dehydration that can affect your energy levels, focus, and overall well-being. This means that what your body truly needs first thing in the morning is not caffeine but hydration, a simple glass of water to refresh, replenish, and kickstart your system in the healthiest way possible. Starting your day with water can profoundly improve how you feel both physically and mentally, laying down a strong foundation for clearer thinking, sustained energy, and better emotional balance throughout the day. It's a small yet incredibly effective habit that sets you on the path to mastering your morning routine and, by extension, mastering your entire life. The very first thing your body and mind genuinely need upon waking is simple yet often overlooked: hydration. So instead of immediately flooding your system with caffeine, start your day with a tall, refreshing glass of water. Think of it as hitting the reset button on your entire system, a simple yet profoundly powerful ritual that sets the tone for clarity, balance, and vitality throughout your day. The ancient Stoic philosophers often emphasized the importance of mastering these small, everyday actions as the foundational keys to a greater and more fulfilled life. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's sharpest and most insightful minds, reminded us that progress isn't achieved by luck or accident, but through daily, consistent work on oneself. Drinking water first thing in the morning is exactly that, an act of daily discipline. It sends a subtle, yet unmistakable signal to your mind and body that you're choosing to prioritize well-being above mere habit or convenience. Fascinatingly, the human brain is composed mostly of water, and when dehydrated, it struggles to function at its best. Critical cognitive functions such as attention, memory, and mood all suffer. By starting your day by replenishing these essential fluids, you are essentially giving your mind a gentle but decisive wake-up call, preparing yourself to face the challenges ahead with clearer thinking, steadier emotions, and a more focused mindset. The legendary psychologist Carl Jung once remarked, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This simple morning habit of drinking water before coffee is a perfect example of turning an unconscious, automatic reaction, the sleepy stumble toward the coffee pot, into a conscious, liberating choice. It's about reclaiming control over your impulses, choosing wellness, clarity, and intentionality first, rather than habitually reaching for instant gratification. Your morning is sacred ground, a blank canvas, a fresh start, an open field brimming with possibilities. And yet, most of us sabotage this precious time instantly. Instead of nurturing this moment, we grab our phones and plunge headfirst into the chaos of notifications. That immediate rush of digital input floods your mind with anxiety, distractions, and stress, hijacking your entire day before it even has a chance to begin. Think about it for a second. One moment you're lying comfortably in bed, savoring the last remnants of restful peace, and the very next you're entangled in a flurry of emails, breaking news alerts, and endless Instagram stories from people you barely remember meeting. Why surrender control so quickly? Why hand over the reins of your day before it's even truly started? Why hand over your precious morning clarity to the endless stream of random updates and algorithm-driven distractions? Stoicism teaches us to guard our inner peace fiercely, treating it as a sanctuary that must not be invaded. Marcus Aurelius famously advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Your phone acts as the gateway through which countless external influences flood your mental sanctuary every single morning. By deliberately delaying that first scroll, even by just 30 minutes, you reclaim the power to choose your thoughts consciously rather than reacting instinctively to whatever the digital world throws your way. Carl Jung also warned us with great clarity: we are not what happened to us. We are what we choose to become. Every morning presents a crucial choice. Will you let yourself become someone driven by external pressures, distractions, and mindless scrolling? Or will you deliberately shape your day around intention, self-awareness, and purposeful action? Skipping that habitual morning scroll doesn't just protect your mental state, it cultivates a stronger, more resilient sense of self. You begin each day with the clear understanding of who's truly in charge, you, not your social media feed. Consider how different your morning feels when you trade the endless screen time for a moment of silence or mindful reflection. Maybe you journal your thoughts, read a meaningful passage that anchors your spirit, or simply breathe deeply and gather your scattered thoughts. Then you might even rediscover forgotten pleasures, like savoring the stillness around you or noticing the soft glow of early sunlight filtering through your window. When you consciously choose presence over distraction, your entire day unfolds from a place of clarity instead of chaos. There is something oddly powerful about starting your day with a small act of order. It doesn't have to be a groundbreaking achievement or a major win, just an MCC hun. Something simple, something well within your reach. You wake up, pull the covers tight, fluff the pillows, straighten the sheets, and just like that, you've already accomplished something intentional, something complete. You've started the day with structure rather than chaos, and this is far more than mere homemaking. It is mental training, a foundational practice that builds discipline and focus. We live in a world that glorifies massive transformations, overnight successes, and sweeping life changes, often overlooking the immense value of tiny, consistent habits. But the Stoics understood this truth deeply. They knew that greatness isn't found in grand gestures but is forged in daily discipline, cleanliness, and order. It's about building focus and cultivating a steady mind through consistent, small actions. Marcus Aurelius himself said, "Don't waste the rest of your life worrying about what other people think of you. Instead, invest that time and energy into creating mental space, building daily habits that ground you, and choosing clarity over distraction." This approach, rooted in Stoic wisdom, offers a path to not just surviving each day but truly mastering it with calm confidence and purposeful presence. It keeps you from doing anything truly useful, and isn't that often what a messy room reflects? A mind that's distracted, pulled in 10 different directions, worried more about the outside world than the world within. A cluttered space can mirror a cluttered mind, full of scattered thoughts and unresolved emotions. Making your bed might sound trivial or even mundane, but it's much more than that. It's the very first signal you send to your brain each morning: I am in control today. You don't need motivation, you already have momentum. This small, seemingly insignificant act becomes your first promise kept to yourself, and promises kept build trust. It's a kind of self-respect that isn't loud or showy but runs deep and steady. Admiral William McRaven put it bluntly when he said, "If you want to change the world, start by making your bed. Not because your bed alone will revolutionize your entire life, but because it sets a tone for everything else." If you can't get the little things right, how can you expect to manage the big ones? Building the discipline to execute something so small every single day, without fail, creates a ripple effect that spreads far beyond that simple task. It builds confidence, commitment, and momentum. Psychologically, the impact goes even deeper. Carl Jung believed in the symbolic power of your environment, famously stating, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That cluttered space around you, it's not just messy, it reflects inner noise, unprocessed thoughts, and unresolved emotions. When you tidy your environment, you often find that your thoughts begin to follow suit. A made bed is not just about aesthetics, it's about psychological alignment and readiness. This is exactly how the Stoics approached their lives, not striving for perfection, but living purposefully. They started each day by asserting control over their time, their space, and their mindset. Making your bed is a declaration to yourself and the world: I will not be ruled by disorder. I will not allow my environment to set the tone for my mind. I choose discipline, even in the smallest things. Some mornings, it might feel like your body is dragging your soul behind it, heavy limbs, a foggy head, zero motivation to move. But the problem isn't that you're lazy or broken, it's that your system is still asleep. Your mind may have opened its eyes, but your body hasn't caught up yet. Until both are in sync, you're operating at low power, barely running on empty. The fastest way to snap that connection into place, move your body. Get it going, even if just with a few simple stretches or steps across the room. Movement signals to your brain, it's time to wake up, time to engage. By making your bed and moving first thing, you create a chain reaction of positive momentum that carries through your entire day. It's a powerful ritual, a small act of control and care that aligns your inner world with your external actions. Start your mornings with this simple discipline and watch how it transforms your mindset, productivity, and overall sense of well-being. The Stoics remind us that mastery over the small things leads to mastery over the great. This foundational habit is your first step toward mastering yourself and, ultimately, your life. You don't need to crush a hardcore workout or sweat through your shirt before breakfast. This isn't about chasing six-packs or breaking personal fitness records. Instead, it's about one simple but powerful thing, activating your life force through movement. Gentle, deliberate, even slow movement is your body's way of saying, I'm here. I'm ready. Let's go. Whether it's a few stretches, a walk around the block, some squats, or simple yoga poses, that's enough. Just enough to wake up your nervous system, get the blood flowing, and remind your brain that you're not a machine, you're alive. The Stoics valued physical strength not for vanity or appearance, but for vitality and resilience. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly," and that includes your energy, your discipline, and your sense of control. These things build slowly, habitually, day by day. Moving in the morning isn't about pushing yourself to exhaustion, it's a ritual, a quiet act of self-respect that echoes through your mood, your focus, and even your relationships throughout the day. There's real psychology behind this practice too. Carl Jung believed in the profound connection between body and mind, between the unconscious and how it speaks through our physical form. He said, "The body is merely the visibility of the soul, the psyche. So if your body feels stiff, locked up, or physically dormant, what might your psyche be saying? That it's stuck, repressed, exhausted." Getting your body moving often helps awaken the mind, not the other way around. And there's more, the emotional reset that comes with motion. Feeling anxious, move. Feeling stuck, move. Feeling sad, unmotivated, or uninspired, move. Motion disrupts stagnation and creates flow. You don't have to be graceful or choreographed, you just have to start. Because once momentum kicks in, it creates a domino effect. Energy rises, clarity emerges, and suddenly you're not just going through the motions. You're steering your day with intention and purpose. Seneca reminded us that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Let's be honest. How many mornings are wasted scrolling in bed, lying still, waiting to feel motivated? Don't wait, don't negotiate, just move. Do it before your excuses catch up. There's a moment, right before you step into a cold shower, when your brain screams, "Nope, not today." In that exact moment, when every part of you wants to retreat, that's where transformation begins. That hesitation, that resistance, that's your comfort zone digging in its heels. But if you've been chasing mental strength, emotional clarity, or simply a sharper start to your morning, here's your entry point: cold water. No filters, no fluff, just you, your breath, and your will. Now, let's get this out of the way. Yes, it sucks at first. It's not supposed to feel good immediately, and that's exactly the point. The Stoics were obsessed with voluntarily facing discomfort, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they understood something crucial. Growth and resilience are forged in moments of challenge. Embracing discomfort builds inner strength that no easy victory ever could. Most of us forget an essential truth: comfort breeds weakness. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." In a world that's increasingly built on avoiding discomfort at all costs, stepping into a cold shower is a radical declaration. It's a bold choice to live intentionally with courage, grit, and self-mastery. Psychologically, Cold exposure jolts you right into the present moment. That sudden shock to your system pulls you sharply out of mental fog and forces you to breathe deeply, to focus, and to override your natural instincts to flee. This reaction is neuroplasticity in action, your brain rewiring itself to handle discomfort with less panic and more poise. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." That resistance you feel toward the cold. It's symbolic of every other discomfort you tend to avoid: the fear of failure, criticism, uncertainty, and discomfort itself. When you face the cold water head-on, you begin learning how to face the rest of life's challenges. This practice also builds what the Stoics called fortitude, mental resilience, and strength of character. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest teachers, believed in training both body and mind for adversity. He fasted, wore rough clothes, and deliberately chose hard tasks not because he sought struggle, but because of the strength such discipline gave him. Cold showers are a modern-day form of this ancient training, a daily resistance exercise for your nervous system. Each time you step in and breathe through the initial shock, you prove to yourself that you can endure discomfort without flinching or giving in. That kind of confidence doesn't stay confined to the bathroom. It follows you into your work, into your relationships, and into every aspect of your life. Beyond mental toughness, cold showers offer physiological benefits too: increased blood flow, release of endorphins, and a spike in alertness. You don't need coffee to feel awake, you need courage. That icy rush clears out mental cobwebs and drops you fully into the moment, alert, energized, and present. But here's the thing, you don't have to start with 5 minutes under icy water. Start small. Just 30 seconds at the end of your warm shower is enough: a brief blast of cold to finish with. One moment of shock, one small victory, one chance to tell yourself, "I do hard things." The Stoics believed virtue was forged in action, not theory. This is your action, a moment of self-conquest, a tangible step toward mastering yourself. There's something profoundly powerful about giving shape to your thoughts, turning the chaos inside your head into something visible, something real. Most of us carry a constant stream of worries, tasks to do, memories, judgments, and ideas swirling endlessly in a chaotic loop. Left unchecked, that loop becomes a trap, stealing your focus, poisoning your mood, and clouding your decisions before your day even truly begins. That's why journaling isn't just some artsy trend, it's vital mental hygiene. Spending just a few minutes with a pen and paper can do more for your clarity than hours of endless overthinking ever will. The act is simple: sit down and write. No rules, no grammar police. Just a raw, honest release of whatever's sitting heavy on your mind: thoughts, emotions, plans, worries. This practice clears mental clutter and provides a fresh perspective, making space for intention and calm. In your chest or cluttering your mind, it might be a lingering worrying from yesterday, a vivid dream, a sudden flash of gratitude, or a sharp moment of self-reflection. Let it pour out freely. Don't filter, don't edit. This isn't about writing something beautiful or perfect. It's about emptying the mental junk drawer before the day fills it up once again. The Stoics practiced this centuries ago, long before modern psychology caught on. They wrote letters to themselves, reflections, reminders, warnings. Marcus Aurelius kept a journal we now know as Meditations, never intended for publication or for others to read. These were private, deeply personal notes to keep his principles sharp and his ego in check. In one passage, he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That line might never have existed if he hadn't taken the time to write it down, if he hadn't processed his challenges with ink and insight. Journaling didn't just help him reflect, it helped him govern an empire with calm and composure. Modern psychology confirms the power of this practice. Carl Jung believed the unconscious mind constantly tries to communicate with us, often through symbols, moods, and dreams. He famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What better way to bring the unconscious to light than by writing it down? When you journal, you give your inner world a voice. You uncover patterns you didn't know existed, repeating frustrations, buried fears, and old stories you've been living by without questioning. Journaling is like having a quiet conversation with the part of you that rarely gets to speak, the part that isn't performing or trying to please, the part that tells the truth, And in that honesty, something shifts. You start seeing your situation more clearly. Decisions become less overwhelming. You begin to notice what actually matters and what's just noise. Even on your worst days, your journal is a safe space. You can be angry, anxious, or lost, and still, it listens, it holds you. And on your best days, it becomes a vault of insights and victories you'd forget unless they're captured in your own words. Seneca wrote, "We should every night call ourselves to an account." He believed self-examination was the root of wisdom. Morning journaling is that same principle in action, except instead of reviewing the past, you're preparing your mind for the day ahead. There's a strange kind of anxiety that comes not from doing too much, but from not knowing what to do at all. You wake up maybe even feeling motivated, but by noon you find yourself aimlessly jumping between tasks, chasing distractions, and ending the day exhausted with nothing real to show for it. That's not laziness, that's lack of direction. And when you don't give your day a clear target or purpose, you wander without control. Give your energy away to anything loud enough to grab your attention, and you risk losing control over your focus, your day, and ultimately your life. This is exactly where goal setting comes in, not the lofty, abstract, vague vision board kind of way that stays just a dream, but real, actionable, clear goals, the kind you can start acting on today. Not 20 goals, not 10, but just three concrete, achievable tasks that actually move the needle, that create meaningful progress instead of just busy motion. Because let's be brutally honest, being busy doesn't mean you're productive. Without defining what success looks like today, you'll just end up reacting to everything else, everything that isn't important. The Stoics were deeply intentional with their time. They didn't believe in wandering aimlessly through the day, waiting for clarity or motivation to magically appear. Epictetus put it bluntly, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Translation: know where you're going, or someone else will take you somewhere else entirely. Even modern psychology backs this up. Carl Jung emphasized the importance of individuation, essentially becoming a whole, directed person. He believed that goals aren't just tools for achievement. They're instruments for self-realization. Your vision becomes clear only when you look deeply into your own heart. Jung said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." When you define your goals with honesty and intention, you're not just planning your day, you're shaping your identity. And here's the thing, goals don't need to be massive or overwhelming. In fact, smaller is often better. Reply to that email you've been avoiding. Write just one page, take a 20-minute walk. These simple, manageable goals give you permission to actually finish something. And finishing something creates momentum. Accomplishment isn't about the size of the task, it's about completion. Because one finished task builds confidence. 10 half-done ones only build frustration. Most people don't realize how fragile their mental state is, especially in the morning. You wake up, and within seconds, your brain starts scanning for input, something to react to, something to latch onto. And what do most of us give it? Doom scrolling, outrage, clickbait headlines that spike cortisol levels before you've even had breakfast. The worst part, you barely notice it's happening. You think you're just catching up, but really, you're handing over your mental peace before your day has even started. But what you're really doing when you dive straight into that endless stream of notifications and chaotic noise is feeding your mind junk and then, paradoxically, expecting it to carry you through a meaningful, focused, and productive day. Here's the unvarnished truth. Your mind is hungry the moment you open your eyes. It craves direction, purpose, and clarity. Just like your body performs far better when you fuel it with clean, nourishing food, your thoughts perform optimally when you feed them with clean, intentional content. If you continuously feed your mind with noise, confusion and distraction will inevitably follow. But if you choose to nourish it with substance, insight, and wisdom, you build strength, mental strength, emotional resilience, and a sharper focus. The ancient Stoics understood this principle deeply, long before smartphones and social media existed. They taught that the very first thoughts of your day should be chosen carefully and deliberately, not inherited passively from the chaotic external world. Seneca famously advised us to associate with people who are likely to improve us, In today's terms, that includes being mindful about the content you consume. Books, essays, philosophy, podcasts, these are your morning mentors. Spending just 10 pages reading something that elevates you, grounds you, or even challenges your assumptions will do far more to foster your personal growth than hours of mindless, passive scrolling through endless social feeds. And here's a crucial point: it's not about becoming some rigid intellectual or perfectionist, it's about being intentional. You are consciously choosing the kinds of thoughts you want to invite into your mind, shaping the decisions you make, the emotions you cultivate, and the conversations you lead. You are deciding the values that guide your life because whether you realize it or not, every morning you're being shaped by the inputs you allow into your mind. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say." Yuldan MCC Hun. Reading and deliberately feeding your mind with meaningful content is a form of doing. It's action, not mere wishful thinking or empty resolutions. Even Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, began each day not with strategy meetings or political dramas but with meditations, a time of inward reflection grounded in philosophy and self-awareness. Why? Because he knew that before he could effectively lead others, he first had to lead himself. And leading yourself begins with the ideas and principles you choose to absorb and embody. This doesn't mean you need to make a massive lifestyle overhaul overnight. You don't have to devour an entire book before the sun rises. Start small. Commit to 10 minutes, read a few pages. Listen to a podcast episode that speaks truth and wisdom into your day rather than noise and distraction. Think of this as tuning your instrument before a big performance, aligning your thoughts with what matters most before life starts demanding things from you. Some people wake up and stumble blindly into their day, letting the chaos dictate their mood and focus. But when you make the choice to start your morning intentionally, with clarity and purpose, you take control. You set the tone for everything that follows. Half asleep and already reacting to whatever life throws at them, many people stumble through their mornings in a haze, overwhelmed by external demands and distractions. But then there are others, those rare individuals who seem calm, clear, and centered. They begin their day differently. They take a few quiet, intentional minutes to mentally preview the day ahead before they live it. This isn't about scrolling through a screen or rigidly following a planner. No, it's about visualizing in the theater of their own mind. They close their eyes and vividly picture who they want to be, how they want to move through their day, and most importantly, how they want to respond to challenges, not perfectly, but with purposeful intention. And this simple yet profound practice makes all the difference. Visualization might sound abstract or even woo-woo to some, but in reality, it is one of the most grounded and science-backed methods for shaping real, tangible results. When you take the time to imagine yourself succeeding, seeing it in rich detail, your brain starts to create the neurological pathways necessary to turn that vision into reality. You prime your mind to expect success, to notice opportunities that align with your goals, and to filter out distractions that don't serve you. This isn't magic, it's biology. And when practiced consistently, visualization rewires your mindset to act in alignment with your deepest goals, instead of being hijacked by fear and doubt. Stoicism understood this centuries ago, long before modern neuroscience caught up. The Stoics practiced a form of mental rehearsal known as premeditatio malorum, a deliberate reflection on what could go wrong. But this wasn't intended to breed anxiety or catastrophizing. Rather, it was a tool for preparation and resilience. At the same time, the Stoics believed in contemplating who they wished to become. Epictetus famously said, "Practice yourself, for heaven's sake, in little things, and then proceed to greater." Visualization is precisely that practice. You rehearse strength, courage, and clarity before the test arrives. You train your inner world so that your outer world doesn't shake you as easily when pressures mount. This mental rehearsal isn't just philosophical theory, it's a practical strategy adopted by top performers. Take athletes like Michael Phelps, who used visualization daily, not just occasionally or before big competitions, but every day. He mentally rehearsed every detail of his swim, down to the tiniest movement, so when the moment came, his body instinctively knew exactly what to do, because his mind had already been there countless times. That's what makes visualization so powerful. You're not merely thinking positive thoughts, you're mentally rehearsing success. They are building familiarity with the version of yourself who already knows how to win. And here's the best part. This practice isn't just for elite athletes. It's for you. Before that important meeting, before that difficult conversation, or before chasing that personal goal that seems to slip further away each day, spend just 5 quiet minutes envisioning the outcome you desire. NBN Hun. Feel it deeply. Don't just picture yourself completing the task. Imagine how you stand, how you breathe, how you calmly navigate setbacks or challenges. Make the visualization visceral and believable. Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself in Meditations, reminded himself daily of how he wanted to act and respond, not simply react to life's trials. He didn't leave this to chance. He visualized self-mastery long before pressure arrived. And if this practice was good enough for the most powerful men in the Roman Empire, surely it's worth incorporating into your daily routine. Maybe it's good enough for the rest of us, too. It's surprisingly easy to forget just how much you already have, especially when your attention is constantly pulled toward what's missing or what you don't yet possess. We live in a world that relentlessly pushes us to chase after more success, more recognition, more goals, and in that endless pursuit, we often lose sight of what's already right here, right in front of us. Gratitude isn't some soft, feel-good concept or fleeting emotion. It's a discipline. It's a powerful mental practice, a way of grounding and anchoring yourself firmly in reality, especially when everything around you feels like it's spinning out of control. Here's the truth. Your brain is hardwired to focus on problems. This is a survival instinct that has helped humans navigate dangers for millennia. If you don't actively take control of where your focus goes, it will naturally drift toward what's wrong, what's lacking, or what could potentially go wrong next. But when you pause, even if just for a moment, and consciously bring your awareness to what's good, what's working, what's still here, what's been given to you, that's when everything begins to shift. Your mindset changes, your stress levels start to settle, and your perspective expands to include not only challenges but also blessings. The Stoics understood this principle long before modern science caught up. Seneca wrote, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." For him, gratitude wasn't decorative or optional. It was armor, a robust tool to help stay resilient and grounded in an often chaotic and unpredictable world. Choosing to be grateful, especially in the face of uncertainty or pressure, is an act of reclaiming your mental sovereignty. It's a way of proving to yourself that you don't need perfect conditions or an ideal situation to find something worth appreciating. From a psychological viewpoint, Carl Jung believed that much of human suffering stems from disconnection from meaning, from oneself, and from the present moment. Gratitude acts as a vital bridge. It reconnects you to the essential parts of life that truly matter. As Jung profoundly said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And that transformative process often begins not with some massive breakthrough or sudden epiphany, but with the quiet realization of how much is already within you and all around you. Even neuroscience supports what the Stoics and ancient philosophers intuited so deeply. Practicing gratitude regularly increases dopamine and serotonin, neurochemicals that significantly enhance mood, motivation, and focus. At the same time, it lowers cortisol levels, which helps reduce stress and anxiety. Gratitude isn't merely an emotional state. It's a physiological process that rewires your brain for resilience and positivity. It's biological. Your brain is primed to scan relentlessly for what's wrong, but through the practice of gratitude and focused reflection, you train it instead to actively seek out what's right. Even Marcus Aurelius, amid the immense pressures of governing a vast empire and navigating personal hardship, made time each day for quiet reflection. He reminded himself daily to focus his mind on what was good, useful, and true, not because life was easy, but because clarity and focus were essential tools for resilience and wise leadership. He wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess." This mindset didn't weaken him. On the contrary, it made him steady, capable, and unshakable. It grounded him in reality and gave him strength to face whatever challenges came his way. Most people wake up and immediately dive headfirst into their never-ending to-do lists, trying to outrun the mounting stress before it catches up with them. But what if, Instead of rushing blindly into the day, you first took a moment to ground yourself not with a task, but with a deliberate thought. Not just any thought, but one refined and sharpened through centuries of human hardship, clarity, and experience. The timeless wisdom of the Stoics. Stoic wisdom isn't ancient just for tradition's sake, it's timeless because it works. The beauty of Stoic philosophy lies in its elegant simplicity. It doesn't ask you to escape life's chaos or difficulties. Instead, it teaches you to meet life head-on with clarity, discipline, and inner strength. Sometimes, a single sentence, a line from Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus held firmly in your mind, can act like a compass, can keep you steady and centered even when the world around you seems to be spinning out of control. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Let that thought sink in deeply." The thoughts you carry with you throughout the day are far more than background noise. They shape who you are becoming. They influence your mood, your decisions, and ultimately the course of your life. By reflecting on Stoic wisdom each morning, you consciously choose those thoughts. You don't just react passively to life, you prepare yourself for it proactively. This practice is like putting on emotional armor. When you begin your day by reflecting on a single Stoic idea, you set your psychological tone for the hours ahead. You decide in advance how you will respond to setbacks, interruptions, criticism, or uncertainty. Instead of flinching or reacting impulsively, you move through your day with intention and purpose. Instead of spinning in anxious circles, you return to your center, calm and grounded. This is precisely what Epictetus meant when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Psychologically, this kind of reflection has deep roots. Carl Jung emphasized the crucial importance of daily inner examination. He believed that if we fail to consciously reflect on our inner world, our unconscious mind takes the reins, directing our behavior without our awareness or control. Jung once said, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." Morning reflection, then, is not just a philosophical exercise, it's psychological self-defense. You don't need to write a full journal entry or meditate for hours. Simply pick a meaningful quote or a single sentence that speaks to you. Carry it with you as a guiding light throughout your day. When you read that quote or sentence, don't just skim over it, sit with it deeply. Ask yourself, what does it truly mean? Not in some abstract or distant philosophical way, but in your everyday life. How does this wisdom apply to that nerve-wracking meeting coming up? To the complicated relationship you're currently navigating? Or to the challenge you've been avoiding for far too long? Stoicism is not meant to be locked away in dusty books or relegated to intellectual debates. It's meant to be lived, breathed, and embodied through your daily decisions and actions. The more often you engage with this practice of mindful reflection, the more grounded you become. You begin to notice the subtle signals your mind sends the moments it tries to spiral into unnecessary drama, when your ego urges you to lash out, or when your fears attempt to hijack your rational thinking. And in those critical moments, you recall the simple line you chose to start your day with. That single sentence, seemingly small and quiet, becomes a powerful guiding force that gently pulls you back to your center, reminding you who you truly are. There's a profound kind of exhaustion that isn't related to lack of sleep or physical fatigue. It's a heavy weight that accumulates when your life is lived mostly indoors, beneath harsh fluorescent lights, behind glowing screens, and under relentless pressure. It's what happens when your mind is overstimulated by constant inputs, yet your body is chronically underengaged and neglected. Being plugged in all the time, constantly reacting to endless notifications and demands, gradually disconnects you from the world around you, from your physical body, and ultimately, from yourself. Sometimes, the simplest and most effective solution isn't to push for more productivity or to seek even more stimulation. Instead, it's to step outside and disconnect. It sounds almost too basic to matter, but spending just a few minutes outdoors breathing fresh air, feeling the solid ground beneath your feet, letting sunlight or even rain touch your skin can dramatically shift your mental and emotional state. And this isn't just about escaping the confines of a room or a screen. It's about reconnecting with something far older and more essential. Because before we had sprawling cities, digital algorithms, and endless calendars. We had seasons. We had the wind rustling through trees, birdsong filling the air, and the rich, nourishing soil beneath our feet. Despite how modern life has distanced us from nature, our bodies and minds remain wired for that natural world, even if we rarely experience it anymore. The Stoics, for all their intellectual rigor and philosophical depth, never viewed themselves as separate from nature. In fact, their entire philosophy was deeply rooted in harmonizing with the natural order of things. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Adapt yourself to the life you have been given and truly love the people with whom destiny has surrounded you." This love and acceptance extends not only to those around us but also to the natural world. To the Stoics, nature wasn't just a passive backdrop, it was a wise teacher, constantly reminding us that everything changes, everything flows, and everything is fundamentally connected. Carl Jung shared a similar perspective, but through the lens of psychology. He believed that modern humans suffer not only from trauma, but also from a profound disconnection from the natural world. He famously said, "Natural life is the nourishing soil of the soul." When we lose contact with that soil, both literally by spending too much time indoors and metaphorically by detaching from the rhythms of nature, we begin to feel ungrounded, anxious, and restless. It's no coincidence that a brief walk through the woods or a quiet moment in a park can calm your mind far more effectively than hours of overthinking or mental struggle. And don't worry, you don't need to plan a weekend retreat deep in the mountains or invest in expensive wellness programs. Sometimes, all it takes is stepping outside your door, noticing the breeze, hearing the birds, and allowing yourself to simply be present in the natural world around you. This simple reconnection has the power to restore balance, clarity, and peace to a mind overwhelmed by modern life. Start small. Step outside for just 5 minutes in the fresh morning air. Feel the chill of the breeze on your skin or the gentle warmth of the rising sun. Take a moment to truly notice the sky above, the soft hues of dawn, the swaying branches of trees, the birds singing their early songs, and the peaceful stillness that surrounds you. This isn't about turning your time outdoors into another item on your endless to-do list. Rather, it's about letting nature quietly remind you of what still exists beyond the carefully curated chaos of your daily schedule. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus once said, "Nature loves to hide, but it's not hiding from you. It's always there, patiently waiting to offer you stillness, perspective, beauty, and healing." The more time you spend immersed in nature, the less reactive you become to the relentless urgency that modern life constantly bombards you with. You start to feel more grounded, more human again, and less overwhelmed by the trivial pressures of the day. There's a reason your mornings often feel foggy, sluggish, or scattered, and it's not always about lacking coffee or motivation. More often than not, it's because you're trying to run a high-performance machine on empty. We talk a lot about mindset, productivity, and discipline, but it's easy to forget that your brain is a physical organ. It doesn't function on thoughts alone. It needs fuel, and the quality of that fuel matters far more than we like to admit. Too frequently, breakfast gets sacrificed at the altar of speed. You're running late, so you skip it entirely, or you grab something processed, sugary, quick, and empty, something that promises a quick jolt of energy. Sure, that spike may help you power through the first part of your day, but it's inevitably followed by a crash, brain fog, irritability, and a gradual unraveling of your focus and mood. This isn't a sign of weakness or lack of discipline. It's simply that your body was never given the proper nourishment it needed to show up fully and perform at its best. The Stoics would call this a form of self-negligence. Epictetus reminded us that no man is free who is not master of himself. That mastery doesn't apply only to how we think or speak, it also applies deeply to how we care for our physical body. Starting your day by honoring your body with real nourishment is an act of self-respect in its purest form. Let's break it down practically. Your brain requires specific nutrients to operate at peak performance. Protein to stabilize blood sugar, healthy fats to support focus and hormone regulation, and whole, real foods that digest slowly and provide sustained energy. Think of foods like eggs, avocado, Greek yogurt, nuts, and oats, nourishing options that won't lead to energy crash later. Avoid pastries, soda, or energy drinks that offer nothing but empty calories and fleeting stimulation. When you choose to fuel your body with whole, intentional foods first thing in the morning, you're doing much more than simply feeding your physical self. You're sending a powerful message to your mind. I came here to perform today. Carl Jung deeply understood the interconnectedness of body and psyche. He believed that the physical and psychological are inseparable, intertwined aspects of the self. To him, the body was not just a vessel but a mirror reflecting the state of our inner world. He wrote, "The mind is like the eye, it cannot see itself without reflection. Part of that reflection involves how we treat our physical form. The quality of what you feed your body becomes the foundation for the quality of your thoughts, the steadiness of your emotions, and the clarity of the choices you make throughout your day." This isn't about feeling guilty or striving for some unrealistic perfection, it's about cultivating awareness. Take a moment right now and ask yourself honestly, would I expect a high-performing athlete to go into training without proper fuel? Would I expect a skilled surgeon to perform a delicate operation with shaky hands and a foggy mind? If the answer is no, then why would you expect yourself to think clearly, act decisively, or stay grounded when your most basic needs, physical, mental, and emotional, remain unmet? Some mornings, the hardest battle you face isn't just getting out of bed. It's confronting that quiet, persistent voice inside your head, the subtle inner critic that greets you even before your feet hit the floor. This voice whispers doubts, replays yesterday's mistakes, and casts long shadows over your confidence before you've even had a chance to prove yourself. It's not loud or aggressive, but it is relentless. And if you don't consciously counter it, it sets the emotional tone for your entire day. That's why affirmations aren't just fluffy positive thinking exercises. They are strategic counterattacks against that inner negativity. When practiced intentionally, affirmations become like verbal armor, protective statements that shield you from old, automatic scripts running in your subconscious for years. You're not merely saying words. You're rewriting the narrative, choosing thoughts that align with the person you aspire to be, not the fearful self your doubts want to convince you of. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. As Emperor of Rome, he didn't start his day with grand external proclamations or political strategy sessions. Instead, he began with inner declarations. In his meditations, he reminded himself that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. He recognized that the thoughts we repeatedly speak, focus on, or allow to dominate our minds ultimately color our reality. They shape our behaviors, perceptions, and eventually, the very identity we carry forward. Affirmations are simply a powerful tool for conscious mental coloring. They take just a few seconds, yet their effects ripple outward, impacting how you speak, act, and show up throughout your day. Saying something like, "I control how I respond," or "Today, I choose clarity over chaos," might feel strange or awkward at first. But remember, your brain is always listening, even when you're talking to yourself. Carl Jung, from a psychological perspective, emphasized the incredible power of language in shaping our identity. He once wrote that words are animals, alive with a will of their own. When you speak words filled with power, direction, and grounding, you're not just making noise, you're calling something into existence. You're speaking not only to yourself but into yourself, reminding your subconscious mind who's truly in charge. This doesn't mean you have to shout affirmations into a mirror or recite cheesy slogans that don't resonate with your truth. The key is sincerity. Choose words that feel authentic and rooted in your reality, even if they stretch you a little. Say them with intention, as if you're planting seeds deep into the fertile soil of your mind, not just tossing empty phrases into the wind. And when you say them out loud. Don't just repeat silently in your head. Sound has its own power. The vibration of your voice reinforces belief. When your own voice speaks confidence, resolve, or peace, it becomes much harder for doubt or fear to interrupt. Even if your voice shakes or you feel awkward at first, say it anyway. You aren't speaking for who you are now. You're speaking for the person you are becoming. Seneca wisely noted, "We become brave by doing brave acts." The same is true of confidence. You don't become confident first and then speak confidently. You start by speaking with confidence, especially when it feels difficult, and gradually you embody it. Affirmations are among the simplest and most direct ways to practice that daily bravery. You don't need to control the whole day. You only need to own your morning, because how you begin is how you live. Every small decision, every quiet moment of intention, echoes through the rest of your life. Strength, clarity, peace, they aren't things you find by chance, they're cultivated by practice. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, there's another video waiting on your screen right now that will take you even deeper. Something tells me it's exactly what you need next. Thank you sincerely for being a part of Stoic Journal Path, where we don't chase perfection, we train for presence. Until next time, stay steady, stay grounded, and keep walking the quiet path forward.